Jeezy. Welcome to the ECMD Conference Call. Appreciate you jumping on.
What up, though? What's happening out there with you, homie?
Nothing to it. Long-time fan from back in the day. I'm sure everybody on the call. I'm going to turn it over to my co-host, Essince. He's an international blogger from the country of Honduras. He's a young man that I'm mentoring. That's what we basically do on this call. In addition to having DJs, we have people that we're trying to mentor in the music business and teach the music business. So we're definitely glad to have you on. I saw your interview on Breakfast Club, and that was an amazing interview. And I'm going to turn it over to Essince. Essince, you got your questions together?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
First, Jeezy, I want to thank you for, all the great music, and congratulations on the success of the new album.
No question. Appreciate you, homie.
Hey, man, I've been listening for a while. I think it was with when Boys in the Hood, the group album dropped in 2005. Is when, a lot of us on the call really became fans. And I wanted to know, how do you utilize a group situation like that to be able to help you launch a successful solo career?
Well, first and foremost, I had a mixtape buzz going at the time with Streets Was Watching, and I think Trap or Die was about to drop, and or had already dropped, and I was basically kind of already doing my solo thing, and what happened was we recorded the record, Them Boys, and Puff loved the record so much, he wanted me to be a part of the group, because at first I was just going to be a feature on the song. And so I told him, I was like, well, I just signed my deal with Def Jam, but I'm quite sure that I can talk to L.A. Reid to do a one-op and do the Boys in the Hood album, because I wanted to be a part of the project as well. So basically what I did was just sat down, with the bosses, me, L.A. Reid, Puff, I think Jay-Z at the time, and told him I wanted to do both. So I pushed back my Thug Motivation 101 album for a month, because I was supposed to drop the same month the Boys in the Hood album dropped, but I pushed the Thug Motivation album back a month so I could do the Boys in the Hood album as well. And I think I was the only artist at the time that was able to do that on two different labels, because Boys in the Hood was under Atlantic, and I was signed to Def Jam at the time. You know what I mean? So it was great how it worked out, but I already knew I wanted to be a part of it. So basically, long story short, I pushed my album back a month to be a part of the Boys in the Hood situation.
And it turned out great, and Thug Motivation 101 dropped a little over 10 years ago. Did you expect it to have the impact that it did? 'Cause you kind of fathered a whole subgenre of rap with that.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing was, when I jumped in this game, man, I was a street cat. I was really living the life, and I just felt like, it was just too much glorifying what was going on and not enough truth about it. And I happen to have a natural love for music. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't know that I used to DJ. Like, I used to DJ in my bedroom in my grandmother's house. I used to buy records and spin records, because that's what my cousin was doing. But so when I got into music, I didn't really want to be an artist, but I wanted to try to make songs. So when I was making those songs and they were starting to lock up, a lot of that what was going on was that you hear the Thug Motivation is I really wanted to be heard. I didn't really do it for the money. So I really put my heart, soul, and everything that I was really about into those records, just hoping that people would just take the time to listen to them. Now, did I know that it was going to sell 2 million? Hell no. But at the same time, you know what I mean? Like, when you listen to the album, the reason why it resonates with so many people, because it's all the way honest. There's no cut on it. And when I was making it, I had to make a decision, because I knew that these things that I was saying wasn't going to enable me to be in the streets anymore. So I was going to have to go cold turkey and really try to pursue a music career without having a music background. So that's why I think it resonated, because it was just all the way honest. And I just knew if I can get people to listen to one album, maybe I can get them to listen to 10. So that's why I went so hard on that.
And that really took off, and even to the point that the Snowman logo or avatar kind of almost took on a life of its own, man. I'd see that everywhere, walking even in the mall. And I was wondering, I'd see a lot of these, stores and places selling, snowman shirts, and I assume most of them had nothing to do with you. So with something like that,
right.
do you go after like the fashion
look, man, Jeezy is the brand of the people, man. And when I say trap or die, you know what I'm saying? That's what I meant. And then to me, the Snowman logo was a symbol of the struggle, and I felt like the snowman was the mascot. You know what I mean? And I am the snowman.
Mm-hmm.
And just like when I knew it was real was when I was in New York, and I went to a clothing store in Harlem, and they had all these different snowman shirts, and I'm like, damn, y'all selling them? And he was like, yeah. So that was the first indication. The second indication is when I went to the Magic show in Vegas with Jeezy, right before I got my 8732 clothing line. And when I was walking through the Magic show, I had a guy come up to me with his wife, and he was like, man, I just want to thank you. And I was like, thank me for what? He was like, well, your snowman shirts are enabling us to have a great Christmas and a great end of the year for our family. And as I would walk through the Magic show, different people would approach me that was selling the shirts and thank me for letting them sell the shirts. Now, you know, the Jeezy, who I am, just that wants to see people eat and wants to see people succeed, was like, this is great. People are making money off something that, you know, I'm about. This is what my music is about. I love it. Now, my business team, on the other hand, was killing me because they're like, yo, you should be getting money. You should be getting paid. But I'm like, man, listen, man, sometimes great shit happens for a reason. And when you have something that the people will stand behind and they feel like it's a representation of themselves, they deserve to eat off that shit, because I didn't get into this game to sell T-shirts. I got into this game to sell hope, to sell dreams, and to sell music, and that's what I was about. So to see that people was actually making money off this shit was real to me. But then when my business guy sat me down and told me the difference in what I would make off a CD and what I would make off a T-shirt, I got it. But at the same time, just the fact that people were selling something that came from a necklace that I made, or had made, and I wore, was the realest shit ever to me. So I didn't give a fuck as long as everybody was eating. I was touring, it was cool. I didn't care. You feel me?
Oh yeah, because in the long run, that helps keep your name and everything out there too. Kind of like with Calvin and Hobbes, they never officially licensed anything, but you see Calvin peeing on logos and stuff all over the back of people's pickup trucks.
Right.
And you mentioned mixtapes
earlier. That's what I'm all about, man. You know, I said that's what I'm all about. You know, right. I'm all about opening doors, man, for people to be able to, you know, do something that they love, because it's always, you know, I come from the field of being an entrepreneur and being a hustler. And you got to create avenues for people to hustle. And my music did that, or something that I done that, and that was the plan in the first place. So I just like to see people moving forward and progressing. I just feel like it was a great thing all in all. You know what I mean? The music was selling, the T-shirts was selling, you know, the shows selling out. So it was like, you know, everybody was happy. So shit, I was happy too.
Well, that's really great, though, that you were able to have that mindset, because it definitely worked. And, you know, you mentioned mixtapes, you know, having a buzz from mixtapes earlier. And I know that especially like the Gangsta Grill series with DJ Drama was really big. But do you feel that nowadays mixtapes like that, are they still as impactful for new artists? And how can they use those?
I mean, you know, I can't say more impactful, because I think that mixtape. Well, no, fuck that. I know that mixtape changed the game as far as what people expected from those type of things. Because Trap or Die could have been an album, but right now to this day, I think that, you know, as I watch the game, sitting back from where I'm at and watch it and observe it, I think it's a good thing, because, you know, I can't say for the business of it, but maybe for the artist who's not able to sell a lot of units, but he's able to create a fan base of people that love what he does, and he puts out mixtapes consistently, because for the independent, you know, record stores, it sells for them. For the, you know, just for the online stuff, it sells for them, and it goes directly to the artist and directly to whoever's selling it versus it going to the label. So it's just a different game, but I respect it for the simple fact that a lot of these cats are running around and they're touring, you know, just off of their mixtapes. They're touring off of their little series that they put out. And you got to respect it, because when I came in the game, that's what I came in the game to do, to kick the door wide open so that the streets could come in anyway. So what I see is these young cats are coming up and they ain't having to hustle and be in the streets no more and be out here doing crazy shit because they're able to actually get their music straight to their consumer, and they're able to actually, make a name for themselves and do other things with that. So to me, that's what the game was about, always. You know what I mean?
Right.
We couldn't just put it in a perspective because once the internet kicked in and everything changed and the hand-to-hand game went, it's just like now it's like, you got to create your own base and be in order to sell it. But how you going to get it to them if you're not able to do these mixtapes? And when I was doing mixtapes, I used to have people tell me that I was the dumbest shit in the world, and it was the best thing I ever did in my whole fucking life. Because had I not been doing those mixtapes, I wouldn't be sitting right here right now talking to you. And that's the best thing. That's the best move I ever made in my life by doing those mixtapes and pressing up 200,000-300,000 units and going to nightclubs and passing them out every day until I created a buzz. You know what I mean? If I hadn't done that, I don't think any label would want to sign me. You feel me?
Right. And, we played a couple of the singles from the new album. I wanted to talk a little about that. What is your process for choosing your singles? Do you have a team? Do you have listening parties? Do you ask other people's opinions? How do you pick your singles for your projects?
It just depends on how I feel, man. If I wake up and I feel like with a lot of the singles that I put out for this project, I already knew that a lot of the street songs were probably harder than those records, but I wanted that to be the body of work. And so I wanted people to get my message. So that's why I put the records out like I did. Like God was to let people know where I was at on it. And then Church in the Streets was to reiterate that. And then, Sweet Life, it took it to another level. So it's like I just wanted to create a mold. It's like when you do these albums, it's almost like doing a show. If you do your show and you want your show to be moody, you're going to come out on a moody song. If you want your show to be energetic, you're going to come out on a song that's turned up. But with this, I wanted people to take the album seriously, so I wanted to put out some records that was going to ruffle some feathers and make some conversations in the barbershops and make people talk in the hood, like, what is he doing? Why is he doing it different? What? Because it was a different message. You know what I mean? I can write, club records with my eyes closed, but that ain't where I'm at on this project, on this particular project. So what putting the songs out was to create the mood, to create the emotion, to create, just to create the talk. And, I had a lot of people ask me why would I make a record like God? And I explained that. But at the same time, it's like Church in the Streets was something different, but that was the mood. So it wasn't about putting out songs per se to go on the radio or to be in the club. It's like, no, I want people to listen to this body of work in its entirety and get my message. And it's like all these things you hear from Grind State all the way to Forgive Me are things that took place, but at the same time is how I view them. So it's like I woke up in the morning, I get my grind on, but then by the end of the day, before I go to sleep, I'm going to pray and ask the Lord for forgiveness. And it's just like, if you really think about that, that's the life of an everyday hustler or everyday working person, because everybody should be God-fearing. But at the same time, it's like, had I put out some club records or put out some radio records, you wouldn't have took my message seriously, because you'd be like, well, he's just trying to sell his album again. You see what I'm saying? So if you listen to the album is about listening to the album in its entirety, the interludes and everything. It ain't just about one song or one feeling. It's about, like, Win is about what's going on right now in the world today. And you can imagine how many people, when I look on Instagram and I see people posting pictures with their son and quoting that line, don't tell me how to raise my son, that means I touched one person. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's what it was about to me. You feel what I'm saying?
Right. So now, looking back then, how does the message or the messenger in Church in These Streets different from the one from Thug Motivation 101?
It's totally different. I mean, Thug Motivation 101, I was living that shit, no doubt. That's what was going on. If I said it on the album, it was going on. But at the same time, Church in the Streets is that same dude, but at the same time, he's taking a big homie's position instead of just telling you what you want to hear. Like, because one thing about it, when you sit down and talk to your big homie, he going to tell you the truth if he a real big homie. And you like some of it, and you ain't going to like some of it. You know what I'm saying? But he going to tell you the truth. So even back then, it was more so about, okay, we living this life, this is what it is, trap or die, go crazy. But now it's like, hey, look, man, get your money, be safe, hustle holiday, man. Take care of your kids while you're at it, though. Don't just go spend your money on cars and gold chains. You know what I'm saying? You got to put something up for your kids. And you go to Just Win, it's about, okay, man, if you're going through something, you know, at least know I've been here with you. I'm going to tell you about the time that I was on the block, and I had icy white Air Ones. My fingernails were dirty, but I knew I wanted to get to where I'm going to be right now today, so I never quit. And then you take a record like Grind State, and if you in the gym and you bench pressing 140, it make you want to bench press 280. So it's the same message, more mature, and it's from a different perspective. So it's like from a big homie perspective instead of somebody who's sitting there who's trying to level with you like he's on your level. It's like, nah, nigga, I did that shit. You can't tell me nothing about the streets or nothing about this game, but at the same time, you know, like with the church in the streets, it's honesty from somebody who's been through it, and I'm not trying to tell you just all the good so that you'll go buy my album or rock with me. I'm telling you everything, like the bad too. You know, people out here starving every day. They dying every day, man. Like, you don't see that? I mean, it's cool to go party and have your fun, but once you leave that club, when reality sets back in, I'm going to be right there in your ear on your way home to tell you just win. You know what I'm saying? That's what this is about. You feel me?
So then, my question, how do you balance, you know, evolution as an artist with giving the fans what they want? Or is it in the message?
I mean, you gotta be honest with them, dog. Sometimes people will want to take what you say and love it. Sometimes they're gonna hate it. But you know, and I hate to say it, like it's almost like being a parent. You tell your kids some things they're gonna love you for. You tell them things they're gonna hate you. But then once they get to that point in their life and they understanding why you were so hard on them or telling them that, and they're gonna take that experience and they're gonna overcome whatever it is. And I just think honesty is the key, man. Like, one thing about me, if you listen to any of my records from 10 years ago to today, I'm talking about the same people. If you hear me talk about, you know, my Uncle Wade, you know, on Corporate Thuggin', you know, like, you know, just for Uncle Wade, and then I come back and tell you, like, on this new album, like, hey, man, look, you know, I wanted to be like that, nigga. I can't believe I sold that nigga crack. I can't believe that to this day. Like, how could I stoop that low? But that shit fucked up, but he's still a hero in my eyes. So that's being honest. I just feel like honesty is always the best policy. And when you're real with yourself and you can look in the mirror after you make these songs and make these records and you know that you said and done the right thing, then that's the way to be. If you just telling people what they want to hear so you can sell a product, then you're a hypocrite. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just doing whatever it takes to get the dollar. And to me, it ain't about the dollar. It's about the message. It's about how can I relate to my people? How can I relate to the people going through a struggle that I've went through several times and had to figure out a way to overcome it. And that's what I believe. So you're going to have some people that say, I just ain't on that right now. You're going to have some people that say, hey, man, I have some people walk up to me and say, man, you won't believe I was going to blow my brains out 2 days ago, man. But the fact that I listened to your album just gave me hope. And that's what it's about, bro. Like, you know, if you sit down and you hear somebody's words or somebody what they say, a motivational speaker, they're going to tell you the good and the bad. They're not going to just tell you everything you want to hear. Nobody's going to tell you if you close your eyes and you open them up, you can be a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? They're going to tell you, look, if you close your eyes and you imagine that you could be a millionaire and you go at it, you know, hand over fist day after day and you abide by all the things you abide by, it could possibly happen. But I'm not going to tell you, yeah, you can wake up and be one tomorrow just to sell my record. I'm going to tell you everything that I went through to get to that point. And then you can take whatever information that you got from that. And then that's how you can apply it to your day. So if you're not being honest on your records, then you're not being honest with yourself. And I think the way that you balance it and that, you know, and it's a love-hate relationship. You know, they love you, then they hate you again. But as long as you're honest, they'll respect you. And as long as you don't lose them, then you can continue to lead them. You know what I'm saying? Because if you lie to them and they find out, you're going to lose them. You feel me?
Right. So do you think is that what you attribute your longevity in the career is to, you know, being honest with the people so that you can continue to walk with them?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. Everything I ever said, man, is out of all honesty. When I go in there and I write those records, man, I put my fucking heart and soul into it, man. If I could tell my mother everything I'm telling you on the records, and she's gonna agree to 90% of that shit because she saw it. You know what I'm saying? I've had people, I had people in my family like, damn, you don't just tell them everything, ain't you? But I'm like, shit, what else? I don't want to make up I'm not rapping to rhyme. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing this to be the best MC. You know, I'm like Bobby Womack. You know what I mean? Like, that's real. If you ever listen to 110th Street, 108th Street, that's that real shit, man. You know what I mean? That's that soul. Mm-hmm. I don't want to bring that soul to the game, that realness, that raw, that grit. And that's what it's going to always be, man, because that's who I am. So that's how you don't lose them. You just say being you. And even when people change, it's still cool because it's still going to be people that's going to be like you and think like you. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not going to always be, you know, everybody caught up in a frenzy and, oh, yeah, I got to go buy this album because they got this jam on there. It's going to be some people like, man, I got to really buy this shit because I'm going through some shit and I need to hear this dude talk. And that's how you keep it. You feel me?
So with that being said, and, you know, the over a decade plus in the game and still here and successful, what can we expect from Jeezy in 2016?
Man, evolution, man, growth, just more hustle, just more focus, man, just more, you know, just really doing all I can to separate myself from the pack, to let people understand that I'm here to stay and that this is what it is. I was put here to do what I do, and I'm going to lead by, I'm going to show these cats what you do when you're 10 years in the game and you still focus as you was the first day. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take this shit to a whole nother level, man. Like, that's what I'm about, man. I'm about breaking the knob, and I'm about, you know, I'm about just exceeding all expectations. I'm about, you know, just showing people, look, man, this is what you're supposed to do when you got your head on straight. You know what I'm saying? This is what you're supposed to do when your focus is on for real. And that's just what I'm about, man. So 2016, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully I can outdo all my last 10 years in a year is what I'm hoping. You know what I'm saying? You can ask me the same thing in 2017, and we can start from there. You feel me?
Well, that's great, man. I really appreciate, you know, we all appreciate you taking your time out and, you know, with all the music and everything over the years. You know, thank you again for being on the call. Kermit, I think had a few questions.
No, actually, we're just going with those, and definitely appreciate him jumping on and changing the schedule so we didn't have to reschedule. Appreciate that. And
listen, man, I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all keep doing what y'all doing. You know, supporting artists and supporting art and supporting culture, man. And we're gonna keep going hard for y'all, homie.
Yeah, I go all the way back to the Sugar Hill Gang. I've been doing this for 42 years, and I have over 200 gold and platinum awards I've received over the last 42 years for different records. They call me Kermit the Superstar Maker. You're going to run into me somewhere. You know, I think we met long time ago back in, like, 2004.
Already.
Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, we definitely appreciate it. You know, wish we, you know, could have had a few more people to do some things, but I know, you know, things can always, you know, I know you can't be on here all night, so we definitely appreciate what we were able to get, and we will continue to support you and your movement and your music, and your Twitter will still keep blowing up the rest of the week. We'll be talking about this awesome interview that you gave us, and, you know, hope to be able to invite you back sometime very soon next year, and, you know, thanks again for joining us.
For sure. Appreciate y'all for having me.
All right.
Good.